Okay, hi, this is Gabrielle Principe with This View of Life, the online evolution magazine. And we are here at a meeting funded by AERA, Evolutionary Perspectives on Educational Research, Policy, and Practice. And I'm here with David Sloan Wilson.
Hello.
And we are talking with Gale Sinatra from USC.
Hi.
Hi. I'm wondering if you could share with us a bit about your talk that you gave yesterday. If you can share with us some of perhaps the main points of the talk and also talk about some of the implications for education.
Sure. What I shared at my talk yesterday is work that came out of a National Science Foundation funded grant where we brought together, my colleagues and I brought together 40 individuals who are developmental, educational, and cognitive psychologists, as well as evolution educators and evolutionary biologists. And over a course of 3 years and several meetings, sort of came together to discuss what the challenges are in teaching and learning about evolution. And I shared some of those findings yesterday. And I think what we learned through that process was that a lot of people feel that there's only two major challenges in learning evolution. One is it's just, knowledge you have to gain, or the other is that it's a religious objection that gets in the way. And you do have to gain knowledge, and there are some people who have religious objections, but overwhelmingly there's many other factors to look at in the challenges of learning about evolution. So we looked at the complexity of evolution, the cognitive challenges of learning about things like emergent systems. We looked at students' motivations for learning. We looked at cognitive biases developmentally that many people have written about that show that learning about change in species is actually counterintuitive to the way that we normally think developmentally. So in this process, we identified many different things that make learning about evolution challenging. And so the crux of my talk was to say to evolution educators that you should keep in mind all these challenges and that we can do a better job teaching about evolution if we confront those challenges and understand them, help students get over misconceptions they have about evolution, help them overcome the cognitive biases, help them learn about emergent systems. And tremendous research has been done supporting learning about complex systems, conceptual change research, learning how to change your thinking about what you already know, and learning about emergent systems. And so there's evidence to suggest that all those fronts are fruitful for learning more about evolution.
One of the things you showed was, of course, the amazing cross-national variation in acceptance of evolution. And so talk a little bit about that, and why is it that some nations are so much more accepting, and does that mean that they've overcome these other barriers to learning in addition to not necessarily having religious objections?
Well, I don't really do the cross-national work, but other people have been looking at that, and I think there's a lot of things that come into play there. One would be just simply about how much evolution is actually taught in schools. And so if you talk to people in Italy, they teach evolution in elementary school. So if you go to different countries and find out what they're doing in regards to evolution education, it's more integrated. It's taught earlier, and it's taught with basically more content time than it is in the United States. In addition, a country like Italy is a good example. It's thought of as a religious country, but in fact, when you ask people their commitment to their religious beliefs or their view about whether their religious beliefs are in conflict with science, you really don't have the same levels of commitment to their beliefs, nor do you have the perceived conflict between their religious beliefs and scientific information. So those are the kinds of differences that you see between European countries where evolution acceptance is relatively higher than the United States and the United States. So I don't think that they are learning differently I think it's a difference in the curriculum and the societal attitudes.
Is there something about evolutionary theory that makes it particularly challenging or difficult to accept? Because I can think of us having this conversation, I don't know, in the 17th century, and if you were Galileo trying to convince us that the sun was in the center of the universe, you would probably have the same pushback that you do from a lot of people now regarding evolutionary ideas. So I guess my question is there something specific about evolution that makes it difficult to accept?
Yeah, I think that there is. It's a very complex topic that has a lot of integrated knowledge across many areas, and so it's very much like my work in climate change understanding. What we find there is many of the same issues that make it challenging to understand climate change are the ones that make it challenging to understand evolution. An example would be deep time, emergent systems, complexity. All of those things are known to make a challenge for the learner. And then again, instructional time, like how much time do you really spend on it? Misconceptions, so the misconception about weather and climate is a standard one in climate science. So these are the same kinds of things that give rise to challenges in learning evolution. Also, there's some similarities in regards to motivated reasoning. So if you think that you kind of want the answers to come out a certain way, you're less open to critical thinking about the topic because you have a desire for the answers to be a certain way. That's going to present challenges for you learning climate science, or it's going to present challenges for you learning evolution. So it is a difficult topic to learn, and that's not unique to evolution, but it's unique to challenging, complex, emergent system kinds of content. And I think we really underestimate how difficult it is to learn. And I said yesterday, people are not surprised when not taught physics that they don't learn physics, but people seem surprised that people don't know evolution when they're not taught it. So I'm not sure why people feel that they should learn it more easily than they would learn other complex information without some tutelage.
So to finish up, you had some harsh words for evolutionists not doing a better job of teaching their subject. Could you address that in your final comments?
Yeah, I certainly have a great deal of respect for evolution educators and evolutionary biologists, and but I don't know that they've looked broadly and deeply at what the challenges are for learners. So I hear a couple of things from evolution educators that make me feel that way. I hear, well, the students should already know this when they get to my class in college. They had it in high school. So that's just not true. Most students don't have a lot of the background in it that is presumed that they have. So then the other thing that I hear is, well, it's not my job to get them to accept evolution. If they learn something about it, great. I don't really think it's my responsibility to help them accept, scientific thinking or to evaluate that critically. Well, I think that attitude has led to a really low level of evolution understanding and acceptance that has really not moved the dial on that for a good 50 years in the United States. And I look to the climate science education community, and they seem to be taking a much more proactive stance in trying to understand why people are having challenges understanding climate science and how to outreach to the community to help them better understand it. And I'd like to see the evolution education community take a page out of their playbook and think more about what we could do to reach out to individuals to help them understand evolution better.
All right. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much, Gale.
Thank you.